we all know I'm an Orlando Magic fan. Um, for all you people out there that think, maybe I'm just, I don't know. Firstly, I don't know why I would be a bandwagon fan. We haven't had much to bandwagon about for, I don't know, since Dwight Howard skipped town, right? So let's cross that one off. Yeah, there's no reason why anyone right now is being a bandwagon Magic fan. Okay. I've obviously followed them since they came into the league, Shaq days, Penny Hardaway days when I really jumped on board. And, since then, I'm like, this is my team. Yeah. And we had a few glory years. We got to the finals with the Rockets and got swept there. We got to the finals with the Lakers and did we get swept there or did we win one game?
I think 4-1. Yeah.
4-1, 4-1. So we've got one win now in the finals after all these years in the league. And I don't know, maybe I'll see us win a ring before I die, right? Is that my goal here as a Magic fan? But we'll see. Yeah, fingers crossed. That's it. And I guess, a lot of our viewers out there have shared some of their thoughts on one of my takes about trading Franz Wagner for Pascal Siakam. Yeah, and I thought, look, I'd love to look into this. As a Magic fan, I'd like to look into this. I want to see if there's any, can someone change my mind? So I pulled up a bunch of stats. Had a look at Franz's stats these last 2 years. Definitely. Hey, I'm gonna say this kid is on the up. Yeah, he's 21 at the moment. He's 6'10". He's averaging 18 and 4 and 3 at the moment. Oh, look, he's a good kid. Don't get me wrong. I think he's got a bright future. I think he could be in the league a long time. I pulled up a bunch of YouTube videos too. I thought maybe I'll try and get some more game footage of him on the floor and what he can do out there. And obviously, I'm not saying I sat there and watched hours and hours of clips, but I was like, okay, yeah, he's a solid player. He knows what to do. He's got the athletic ability, the size. He's got the shooting, sort of shooting stroke as well as many of those sort of high level Europeans do. And I love the kid. I like the kid. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's untouchable. That's what I arrived at. I do not think he is a franchise, okay, untouchable player. And I think if the right offer and deal was out there to swing for, the Magic should take it. And I'm gonna double down on this. I don't think anyone on the Magic right now is untouchable. And I probably said this in the podcast with you a little while ago, okay, that I don't think anyone on this team is, well, let's be clear, firstly, a Hall of Famer. And secondly, I don't even think anyone on this team is even an all-star. Yeah, that's the my honest feeling as a Magic fan for so long. Okay. We obviously I talked about, do we have a talent evaluation issue here? Okay, and we obviously feel high on Banchero and Wagner and Fultz. Yeah, and I've talked about Fultz several times now, and I'm like, I don't see it. I don't see it. Okay, yeah, don't get me wrong. Fultz has now carved himself out to be a solid point guard in the league. He probably can play for another, 7, 8 years, if not longer. Okay, great. Credit to him. The kid obviously had a rocky start when he came into the league, but I don't see him as an untouchable. Okay, these players, when the right deal comes along, can be and should be traded for us to take that next step because we need a franchise cornerstone, which we do not have right now. What do you think?
Well, the hard thing here is, like, okay, let's go all NBA players. Would we assume that 15 of the all NBA players per season are they the untouchable, like you don't trade those players? Is that what we generically
I
agree
think
on?
I
Yeah.
think if you work through every team, there are some teams that would have players on their team. You say this player is untouchable right now. You do not trade them. Any trade offer, literally, you'd have to trade them. The first pick plus their superstar there on that team, best player on the team for it to even to listen. To listen.
So you're saying Ben Caro, who at 19 years old averaged 20 points, won Rookie of the Year, and looks very promising, really, and we don't know what he's going to turn into. You're saying not untradeable. Right deal comes along, I'll just pull the trigger. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. Because I don't think Banchero is even going to be an all-star. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me.
Um,
You can argue otherwise. All right. Come on. You tell me
no,
otherwise.
it's
I don't
not.
know.
No, because here's the thing. What we're doing is we're trying to project forward, right? So projecting forward is a really difficult thing to do because so many variables can occur. Anyone can tear
Absolutely.
their Achilles at one point, and that's it. Career is completely different. When we talk about Fultz, I'm in partial agreement with you because I don't like the ACL injury because statistically speaking, no one comes back from the ACL the same player. And we didn't even know what type of player he was before that because what he came into wasn't in correlation with what he was in college. I'm okay with moving off Fultz. Some people are very attached to him. That's great. I'm personally okay to move off it. Same for Jonathan Isaac. A lot of potential, but bad injury history here. I don't want to touch it. So that's probably if I was a GM when we just done our big GM series, and hopefully it came across a little bit. I don't like players with track histories with poor games played. The best availability is the best ability in the NBA. And your young Magic core so far look pretty good. I don't know what you're trying to do. I don't know what you think you're going to get out of the open market because when you talk about, okay, none of my players are untradeable, well, who are you going to get in return, knowing that other teams view some players as untradeable? And I think unless you can give me a name, and God forbid if it's Pascal Siakam again, um, who do you want that you feel like that's a great trade for Banchero? That's a great trade for Wagner.
See, here's the thing. I'm not saying that there is a great trade out there necessarily for them right now. I'm sure I could find one, and I haven't spent the time, but that turns green, that I could make an argument about. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure I could find one I could make an argument about. Okay, especially right now with the draft around the corner, you could make a trade where you also attached one of the higher draft picks there, and then that gives us 2 picks maybe in the top 10 or something along those lines. Absolutely. Okay, but I am saying that a lot of the commentary that I've heard so far that Banchero is, untouchable, that Franz Wagner should not be traded or should not be considered to be traded. All right, I don't buy into that. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to have a solid career. Okay, but I don't think he's going to be the next Dirk Nowitzki. Okay, that's the thing. Okay, I think maybe he could be a healthy Porzingis, okay, without being 7 foot. So that's the catch there. He's not 7 foot. That's the thing, right? So, Porzingis, I guess, in a sense, now has sort of been healthier. He's on the floor. He produces. He's not a number one option, but he's still a solid player on a team. Doesn't hurt to have him as your second or third option. I see that in Franz Wagner, not that he's going to be a Dirk that leads Magic to the ring.
I think if we look, I'm going to list off a couple of names for you that all of these players were players that you could have easily moved off on at a certain point and you held on to them because of potential. Kawhi Leonard is a player that you early in his career could have moved off of, and he might have just been a beneficiary of the Spurs situation. Paul George, especially post the injury, very easy player to move off. Trying to get some other quick names out here. I had a list in my head and I just lost it. I should have written it down. Giannis. Giannis was a player that you potentially could have moved off on. A lot of people passed over him. Devin Booker, obviously a player that you could have moved off. Not many players come into the league and are clearly going to be like number one picks, right? A number one pick is the player that you hope comes in and is like, wow, they're going to be an all-star. That's the future projection. But everyone else is a smorgasbord, right? And you hope, like Jalen Suggs is a great example of he was your higher draft pick out of him and Wagner, and it hasn't panned out yet, right? I don't understand what you're trying to achieve
Yeah.
by giving up on all these
What do you
players in
mean?
their
Yeah.
second and third
Are you,
season.
are you trying to imply that Suggs is going to work out at some point? Suggs is not going to
We
work
don't
out
know.
Suggs is not going to work out in a Magic uniform, especially not behind the love and minutes that Fultz gets, that Cole Anthony also demands. Okay, and now we got Suggs there somehow as a high lottery pick as the third point guard here. It's not going to happen. This is where, like we spoke about, the lack of direction at this franchise has been sorely lacking for years. Okay, and it continues to persist right now, and I just don't see it. I don't see it. I bet you we have another quiet off season. We don't swing any trades. We ride with our young core. Maybe we get 30 something wins next year. Wow, that's progress. That's cool. We've been progressing for how knows how long now. I have no idea, seriously. But that's not how you win rings.
I
Isn't
think,
that the whole goal here?
look, I think we know that 29 teams lose the championship, right? And we know that maybe 10 of them next season have a legitimate shot of winning it. No, I don't think the Orlando Magic will enter next season as title contenders. I don't know if they will the following season. But you look at the landscape of the NBA and how much it changes year to year. You need to be patient because you have a lot of good players here that, yeah, maybe no one on this team is going to be the alpha or number one on a championship contender for the Orlando Magic, but they could very easily be the second or third option, right? We literally just watch, and this is another player I forgot to mention before. Nikola Jokic was the 46th pick in the NBA draft, and he was playing backup center minutes to Yusuf Nurkic, okay? And there was a debate about which one they wanted and who they should commit to. Talent evaluation takes time. You need to let these players grow into it. You need to calm down as a Orlando Magic fan because you're so used to always getting the big flashy names. You got Shaq, Penny, Grant Hill, McGrady, Dwight Howard, Vince Carter. You get all these flashy names. Just calm down. You got a nice little core here. All right, I'm sure we'll do this calm down chat in a week's time. Just give it some time. All right, Orlando, I think are going to be okay. You're doing all right.
This is Two Guys with Spare Time. I'm Faz, this is Nick. You're probably a basketball fan like us, so hopefully you can throw us an assist in giving our video a like and subscribing to our channel.
And if you got thoughts, feelings, or even some suggestions, please put them down in the comment section below. And thank you for using your spare time to watch us in our spare time.